What's up, guys? Yeah, I didn't post a video for a couple days because it was my first time doing it, and I was kind of going back and watching them again for the voice tone. I think the vehicle works more soundly. It kind of boxes my voice in, so I'm gonna do a few here and see how that works out. Again, I had no agenda when I post these videos. It's kind of sporadic for me. Even though the last couple days I didn't post anything because I was really trying to regurgitate like what would I want to tell somebody who has a potential to get worse and be in my shoes, and how to clarify that with more softness, I guess, instead of saying you're screwed, let it course through you kind of mindset. So um, I'm going through one of my hallucinating days. It's like a peaceful, calm day for me. Like it's very rare. I'm always in a heightened sense of anxiety, like something with a bang or something. I just, get that grit, lockjaw, shoulders up, kind of mindset, but it hasn't hit. The night after I did those videos, not the night that I slept, but the night that followed, I had a string of about 3 or 4 panic attacks. It lasted about 5 hours total, until I was able to just finally just collapse, like just sleep. And again, it wasn't much sleep. It was like 3 hours. And then I was back up and dealing with the same ruminating thoughts. Let's say you have, 20,000 thoughts a day, 17,000 of which are kind of regurgitated. So the rumination phase is a big factor with any condition. When you're on a spectrum that's not psychotic, even though you feel crazy and you feel like you're gonna lose your shit, and or your body's just gonna have a jolt where like any second, like you're just gonna switch over and go into beast mode, or you're gonna fucking have the same jolt but have an aneurysm or a heart attack. Like it's just gonna spark and your heart's gonna tilt left, or just bad feelings and stuff. But I wanted to kind of go back over some things that were very imperative that I should have mentioned first and foremost. And it doesn't have to do with the healing process. It has to do how these transitions begin when we're going back into the 17,000 thoughts that are regurgitated out of the 20,000. And again, I'll stifle for words because none of this is planned or written out, but it does come with an acuity. So like if you have a thought and it just fleets through and it passes through your mind out of, I don't know, just say 500 thoughts. And then you think about an ex, or you think about financial situation, and then your mind moves on to a bunch of other ones and it just tangles itself. It's always thinking. It doesn't rest unless you sleep and have the luxury of not having nightmares. But it's always moving, and it inverts and thinks in on itself. And when you have like an emotional thought that goes through your crazy network patterns of thinking processing, there'll be one little catch that you don't even know. You'll just think of random, and that's something that popped in random in the mind, and you're thinking about how this project's going to get completed, or what you're going to do, or something, but it'll pop into your mind. But that is the underlying symptom. You can't catch it, is what I'm trying to say. It's like there's just no way to unravel that net to go back and be like, oh, that's what made me start feeling this gut feeling. And then your body itself has its own memory, right? Where it's going to react on its own. And then you're going to try to reason it out, and the reasoning really isn't going to help at all. That's why most people say, if you can, try to sit with it. But the forced truth of it is all you can do is sit with it. And you become numb. And when I was talking about in an earlier video about the flight, freeze response and the fawn response, and I call it the fucking, it just leads up to the inevitable, like, panic attack, like the epic panic attacks. I kind of was a little off because I was talking in a PTSD context about what freeze is. So they have OBE, which is out of body experiences, which can go down to DPR, and or DR, and derealization and depersonalization. And those are very different things, but they're very, very similar. But it just means like if you get eaten like by a shark and shit, and you're swimming in the Gulf, in Florida, your body's not gonna feel the pain, bro. Like people think, this is immeasurable pain. No, it's kind of your nervous system will shut the fuck down. The shark will eat you. You'll still have thoughts. It'll probably still work for another, scary 2 minutes. But yeah, you're not going to feel the pain. Your body's going to shut off. And the same with the nervous system. It shuts off. And so when I go into an anxiety moment, when we talk about freeze, it creates this numbness that creates a DPDR or out of body experience. I just like OBE. It's better for me because it's like I don't want to extrapolate the difference between the two. They both feel foreign. They feel really fucking weird. You're like 5 sets behind your eyeballs, or like you're over there and or you touch your leg and you can't even feel your own leg. Like this weird shit's happen, And again, I got stories to tell on it, and I'm happy I get to smile for you guys a little bit, even though the anxiousness is here, and you can always see it. I mean, it's just visible to anybody who knows me. But again, if a crisis happens, I'm the best guy to be in a foxhole with, because I don't take anything sensitive when I'm in these moments, like when I'm fight, flight, freeze, whatever. It's just I'll react. And that's whatever the consequence is. That's what it's going to be. I don't fear anything. And so I usually find myself, and again I'm ranting, tirade. But I find out when I'm angry, I can't have a panic attack. Or if I have a panic attack and then anger snaps me out of it, it'll stop the panic attack. Because I'm fulfilling its wish fulfillment. I am completing what it's telling me, my body is telling me to react to. So in a weird way, the anger combats that. The numbness, on the other hand, which is like the freeze response, in an anxiety setting, it usually activates for me to quell an emotion. Right? So again, I was thinking about an ex or a financial event, and I just went on to keep thinking like I normally do throughout my day. That somehow stuck with my body, right? It triggered something of a memory, and then even though it was quick and it was like snap speed, right? That numbness kind of shells you from that emotion. Like it doesn't want you to get close to it. And I've tried under different kind of therapies and stuff. Make sure this light's good on this camera. I'll just hold it up. But it kind of shields you. It puts a bubble over that emotion. Like, don't touch that right now. So it is kind of a body activated security system. in that way, it's like, just don't fuck with this right now. Dude. Like we're telling you, your body's telling, your mind's telling you, do not fuck with this because it could have this outcome that you don't need right now. But at the same time, in a heightened sense, when you're going back to look at it, which could be 20 minutes later, it could be 8 hours later, that thought has actually been ruminating in neurology and, all these things, and goes down into your system back up, and it's been feeding itself back and forth for 6 hours, and then you all of a sudden have this bad anxiety, not like me right now where I'm kind of sweaty and just a little nervous with the tongue and can't speak entirely correctly. So yeah, there's different variables, but it's at different frequencies. So like when we were talking earlier about those levels to the game, right? You can have regular anxiety, social anxiety. Then you can go up to a panic attack, and then you go into a demi-seizure panic attack. You have to go back to a previous video to see kind of what the difference is, and I'll probably elucidate into that later on at some point to let people really know there's a big difference. Like if you're just fucking nervous, man. You're fucking nervous. Like if you have to walk on a New York street corner and there's 20 people out there and you know you got drama with like 3 of them, but you got to walk by them just to get to where you're going. You know what I mean? It's to me, that's anxiety. You know? And what's weird is like you're much more prepped if you just have just generalized anxiety disorder. You're much more like you. If you take that and you turn it into a functionality of effectiveness, like if you say, I got to walk by these people, I got to show confidence, I can't hold my head down, even all I want to do is just squirm at the sidewalk, or look straight toward at a stop sign, act like I don't even see them, just try to get by this whole situation rather than confront it. If you allow that anxiety to confront that issue for you, you're going to handle it much better than you think you would. Instead of being nervous and this and that, you're like, no, because your body's like all kinds of venomous, you know, like the Venom character, like that black gooey shit, you know, just crawling all over you, emanating out. And if you utilize it, it'll actually really, really fucking help, dude. Because then you can look at somebody and say, what? Because your body's already there. You're already in a hypertensive kind of state of mind. So it can help you. But often or not, you know, that's just with a general anxiety disorder. That is just somebody who's just nervous about being around crowds, being about people, creating conversation. Just don't feel like they fit in. It's kind of like, the imposter syndrome, right? I get anxiety. So you hear the stutter. But that does emanate all the domains of anything laden with anxiety, whether that's panic, anxiety, or, you know, if you can go full scale with the shit. But you always have this imposter syndrome where you never feel adequate, you never feel worthy enough, you never feel like you're your age. Like you still feel like, okay, well, shit, I'm 45, right? And you still feel, I don't know, man. You still feel like 7 years old. Like you just want to curl up in a fetal position or just fight your way out of it, dude. Like, screw it. And when you're having these episodes and you're our age, my age, it's like you can't fight, right? Like mentally, because you've learned so much, you've seen so much. Like, it's just not a viable option at that age. You know? And then when you talk about confinement and being trapped and trapped spaces creates anxiety, you're not thinking like jail, like shit. It's only during anger moments that it's like, yo, I don't care about a consequence. Right? So I always tell people, I don't know if I'm making sense because I don't have everything written out. Like, this is what I'm going to say to my audience and this is what I'm going to do. I'm just trying to tell people that there's different levels of how to address if there's a way, right? So one of the things in the formats of all 3, right, and is eyes. Like it all starts with the eyes. You'll notice this once. Now that I said it to you, you'll notice. If you're in a store and you see too many things on the shelf, it's like being in a crowd and seeing too many people. It's a sensory overload of the eyes. So I always tell people, like, try to bring shades, or I don't wear them. I got too narrow a face, but I always wear a hat. So I'll take my hat and I'll just put it down over my eyes, you know, if I'll stare at a phone. It's very simple, not too much movement, you know, nothing for me to think deeply on. Like I can't do a crossword puzzle. It takes too much thought. That means I'm inside my head too much. So it's more like a finger fucking app. You know, like, I don't know, pick one. But just do stuff like that because it does start in the eyes. And if you can ease your eyes up, once you start feeling the symptoms coming on, no matter if it's just general anxiety, it's a panic disorder thing, or you know, it's something a little heavier than that, like PTSD, is to really try to hone in on what you're focusing on. Don't do too many light variations. Okay, I got this lamp on, I got this ceiling light on and they're all extruding different kinds of light, it's not going to be very helpful at all, because it's just, it's adding to this mess that's already starting to try to build up about, like, I don't belong here, I don't fit in here, this is not right, something's off, and you get them to a point, like, if you're like me, I got a lot of different issues, and I told you guys I was going to name them. I just forgot, to pull it up and just write down the 9 things that I got. But yeah, so it starts with the eyes, and like, if you can really just, it's not really good to shut your eyes, because, I mean, for me personally, it just goes to a cognitive sense, like, but if you could, like, this, if you do shut your eyes, just try to find the white light. A buddy of mine, Mitch Turner, shouldn't have said his last name, a buddy of mine, Mitch, he had told me, he's like, if you shut your eyes and try to just see what images create from all these light variations, and look at it like a cloud, like, try to picture what it is. And because if you shut your eyes right now to watching this blue screen, which this isn't helping, you can create kind of imagery out of it, and just follow the imagery, because it'll move. You'll notice it'll move. And so what that does is it gets you kind of out of your mind, but you're still in your body, but you're not focusing or hyper focusing on, oh my God, I'm feeling this kind of fucking way, it's happening. The fucking's happening. I told you guys, that's all 4 when they hit, The fight, flight, freeze, fawn response is called the fucking. That's when everything hits at once and there's no stopping it until it fucking flushes out of your system, And so, yeah, I wanted to give you the visual acuity part of it, because I think it's so fucking important, dude. Like, it's just imperative that you learn that. Like, it'll always happen. You're gonna have to learn this on your own. Like, if you're driving and you get car anxiety, or if you're on a bus and the movement's wrong and it shifts in between the window panes and from the outside view, that one little thing can just, fuck, I shouldn't be on this bus right now. Now, you don't know why, but again, it's a body memory thing that you have nothing to do with, right? You're just dealing with just decades, or maybe years, or maybe a few months of habitual activation. Like, you are so trained at it, like your eyes are, like, even though you don't think so, that it will make you feel like you don't belong in that situation. And that's why they say sometimes, I don't believe this, I am not advising anybody, again, I'm not a counselor, but I don't think you should combat any kind of agoraphobic phenomena. Like, they always say, face your fears and, they'll calm down. The fuck they will. They just get worse. Because all you're doing when you go into those forced, situations where, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And even if you get yourself mad to do it, the after effect of it, man, is honestly like, you're just creating more of a fear, because it's going to hit you. Like, whatever that fear is, whatever that phobia is, I don't call it phobia. You're going to train your nervous system more, because you're going to have an even worse experience. Now, are there little small, I don't know, like, micro steps to get out of agoraphobia? Fuck yeah. But it's not like what they say, well, just walk into the block and walk back. I've done it. Back of my legs turn to jello, heart rate's crazy, fucking just things are expanding and contracting. I'm dizzy. I'm like, oh shit. My heart's like, feels like it's literally turning to its side. All these things, and I'm like, dude, this isn't normal. And then I feel the pressure in my temples build up. I get frontal lobe pressure, where it feels like, Pop Rocks, that old candy that you used to put in your mouth and it pop on your tongue. That's how my frontal lobe, when I know I'm real bad, like it'll do this frontal lobe popping, where it's just like, it reminds me of the tea kettle. Like, dude, turn that fucking temp down, dude. Turn the heat down, man. It's not cool. So that's one of the things I wanted to say is, like, and we all deal with them differently, because our standards are different and what we can take is different. Like, So just be mindful of that, and then try to watch that. Try to watch your eye sensitivity, right? Because it's a very, very big thing. You know, everybody always goes for the heart, like, oh, my heart beating high, and like anybody who's like lived with this shit for a while, like, you know, you guys been roommates, you know, for over a decade, you know, you're used to that shit. Like, yeah, this fucking sucks, and like, you know, and sometimes like if you mix it with emotion though, it could be a whole different terrain. Like, you know, any second, and you just feel this twitch, like that's just gonna happen at any point, and you kind of startle up, and even though you're under your heavy blanket and you're in your comfort spot with a lot of pillows and you got soft music on, and it sounds gay or corny or whatever 90s joke, not to anybody out there listening, but you know, it was just like a weirdo thing, like, you know, like, oh my god, dude, he's cuddled up on the couch in a fetal position. But, you know, it's whatever helps, man. It's a gradational effect. Like, you have to, the same way the habits were formed, even though you don't know why. Because it's been a lifetime of experience for you, you know, even if you're 20. Like, you know, like you have memories you don't remember prior to 7, so they still stay with you, you know. But yeah, you have to kind of break it in the same way, but not the same way. And sometimes you can't do anything. So it's hard to make sense of this because sometimes you can effectuate change if you micro step, right? But you have to know what the fuck you're doing in the sense that your body's probably right. If you feel like you walking outside your door is gonna trigger you, just fucking know it's gonna trigger you, dude. Like it's gonna trigger you. So like if you're kind of in a better mindset, like, all right, well, it's gonna hit a little hard, but I'm still gonna do it. Those are the micro steps I'm talking about. The steps that counselors and most people often say is like, you know, just do this portion. Like they'll give you like some kind of a benchmark. Fuck a benchmark. No benchmark. Do it when you can. Try to alter your patterns when you can. And over time, I think that kind of habitual formation happens. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, well, we'll just go to the store and see how this works out. No, it's not going to pan out well. I mean, if your body's unequivocally already in some kind of, I don't know, like chaotic mode, dystopic mode, like it's just not going to deal with it well. And, you know, some people say, you know, take notes. That's why I'm doing the videos, because I'm like, I refuse to take notes. I'd rather write a song or, you know, do some artwork or something, and but I'm really good at it, so it's not like a corny, I'm going to sit down and do, you know, scribble. And again, I'm ranting, and I don't usually have focus on certain things, but there were some things I was going to go over with, so. The visual acuity is probably the number one thing for change. Is like, notice when it hits, because it's going to come through your eyes. Things will become too visually cartoonish, like too HD for the human eye. Like if I look at these bushes, the red bushes are turning in the fall. If I look at them right now, right, it's probably equivalent to an 80s TV set. If I were to take a picture of that on some high-end phone or camera, and then I transfer that to my TV that's 4K, that's not even going to look real. And so anytime I have symptoms hit, it always looks like 4K to me. And my eyes don't see, right, like the frontal lens of that really expensive high-end camera or what have you. And that's when I know, like, something is transitioning here. You know, I either need to get to safety or I need to get out of here. It's like one or the other, like, because something's happening and you don't have time in those moments to sit there and decipher, okay, well, maybe if I think this way, or maybe if I act this way, or maybe if I look at other people, you know, it's not that kind of thing, you know? So like lately I've been going to Walmart. Well, I always go to Walmart and Kroger. I just don't go in. And there's times I challenge myself. I'm like, well, I got to go in peace, so I can do that. You know, it's right in the door, and then, you know, I might even pull the car up a little closer just so I don't have to like walk another, you know, 10 places back to try to find the vehicle. But I will go in. And I'll be really proud of myself. You know, I'll be like, damn, dude, I did that shit, dude. You know? But every time I do have an achievement, there's also a pullback. Meaning when I get home and I did some kind of something I wasn't expecting to do out of spontaneity, that I parked the car, and I don't know if you've ever been in a fist fight or something like that, but you go through something tragic, you deal with it, and then I used to hide in the bathrooms. You know, if I have friends that are watching the video, they're gonna laugh because it's true. Because I'd always go in and be like, "Yo, I gotta take a shit," and I'd be lying because I'd be in the fetal position against the wall, shaking like a leaf, like a leaf for like 20 minutes. You all right in there, young? Like, yeah, I'm all right, man. Hold on, give me a second, dude. I'm trying to laugh it off, but I'm in there shaking because all that adrenaline's finally leaving me. And the same thing happens in a car setting when I park the car or I'm home and I'm just trying to get in there, and I'm just cringe, right? So those are some of the factors I wanted to talk about. But I think more than anything, I just wanted to post a video for people who might have watched mine already. And I won't know until I get feedback and comments. I didn't know this, you know, like likes help share, right? I'm an old guy, right? And then if you get comments, it gives you good content to help people go through what they're going through. And so usually, like, until I get a comment, I'm just going to continue to rant and talk to people. And I'm going to continue to reinforce this safety belief. Because I swear to you, on anything, they say love cures all. The only reason love cures is because it's some kind of a safety net. There's some kind of safety involved in it. It's safety, safe environments, man, safe people. You know, you could be around rude people and still feel safe because you know those kind of people have your back if you get into a situation, but you're going to argue, but you're still safe. And when you're combating something like this alone and nobody understands where you're coming from and nobody knows the decency you have, because all they're going to do is see you lash out on an anger mode or, you know, a PTSD response, you know, because you'd much rather take the anger and let it out than have to ball it up and deal with it and try to hold it down like the Incredible Hulk. You know, I tell people that. You know, they say, you're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I said, nah, I'm not bipolar, bro. I'm like the Incredible Hulk and Bruce Banner. You know, I'm a very smart, sagacious Bruce Banner. But if you make me feel the size of an ant, I'm going to turn into the Incredible Hulk. You know, and at my age, I don't want to do either. I want to live in some kind of serene, not even, that sounds too tranquil. It just, a sense of peace. I see people with the most problematic issues, whether it's drug addictions or, acting all, I don't know, bougie. Best word I know how to put it. Love me or hate me, I'm from the 90s. But it's like, if you're acting like that and, you know, they have a lifestyle, but it's like they can deal with all that stress. They can let it out any way they want. But God damn it if I do it. You know, I got cops there and shit. Like, it's just a kind of a different event for me. You know, and I think, just to reiterate, besides the eye acuity thing, you know, I watch my minutes to make sure I can post these videos because it's on a phone. And I'll post another one this evening that's a lot calmer than this one. Because I didn't have my thoughts about me. I just picked it up and said, well, man, I need to post a video and try to show somebody that's watched the video. Like, I'm very resourceful. I'm very humane. You know, love and loyalty are my two top qualities. If that's all I have to give in this world, those are the two things that I can stand on. And I don't think even an enemy could say differently. You know, so I always want to try to impart that on the people that watch these. And I'm not doing like this YouTube thing to go 200 videos in. I'm more like I might do 25 to 50, unless there's a real need, because there is a mental health crisis in the U.S. and there's a lot of people who deal with these things that science really can't get a hold of yet. Like, we keep saying certain things and we just don't know right now, right? So I'll just be blanket outright about that, like, because I really do read the science behind all of it. We're nowhere near touching it. So again, the channels for safety, knowing that there's good days ahead, even if it's just one. That one might get you through another month, But even with because I had a really bad relapse, is the reason I started making them. Because I felt like I was back in like 2014 or something. I'm like, dude, I'm having the strings again, like the non-stop panic attack. But they would call them waves or something. So I explain it to you in that way. But it feels like, no, that's 10 hours of panic attacks, dude. Like, imagine having a 10-hour fucking panic attack. Just try to imagine it. Like, if you ever really had one, try 10 hours of that shit. I mean, it's got to take its toll. And they say, well, anxiety and this can't kill you. Well, what happens when you have like 10,000 of them? Doesn't that like give your heart calluses? Doesn't that like burn through, a lot of organs, because you're thrushing, you're basically using like liquid plumber in your veins, like you're shooting it through every organ in your body. Your stomach shuts down completely because it's putting it all in your arms. Like, your dick and stomach don't work at all when you're in fight, flight, freeze, whatever, fawn mode, whatever they want to call it. When you're in the fucking, those shut down. It's all here. It's not in your brain. It's in your legs. It's in combat mode, man. So over the course of time, there's no study that says, oh, well, yeah, he had 20 years and that's why he died at 49 years old. And that's what I'm telling you. They don't even know synergy. Even if you go into the drug aspects, like, if I give you this will help this, and this will help this, and this will help this. But what do all 3 or 4 do if they coalesce? There's no studies on that. They're winging it. And they get paid to wing it. So I try to do holistic things. I really, like, I don't drink caffeine and I stay off sugar. Those are 2 things I'll always confound in other people. Is just try to limit, unless it's real sugar, and that's a kind of a different thing, but you probably shouldn't anyway. Egyptians had their teeth until, you still find skulls with perfectly white teeth. Like, damn, how'd they do that? They didn't have sugar. So there's certain things that are good and bad for us, dietary, but especially if we have conditionalities that pertain to anxiety in any format. Yeah, anyway, I'll keep wiping my eye. My old man busted a pipe, anxiety. But he put this jar on to heat on the stove. And it's supposed to be for the oven and the stove. And it self-combusted, because I was literally about to nod off. And I just jumped up like a bomb went off, like I always do with my tinnitus, but it was a real life event. And again, calm as hell, because I'm actually dealing with a real life. What is in front of me, I can deal with it. But when you're dealing with hallucinatory or imaginatory things that are taking 100% of your emotion, 1,000% of your intellect, and all you can do is like health check is what they call it, but it's not that. It's you're feeling all these weird sensations, and you can't help but notice them. I mean, dude, fuck, like if I put a toothpick in your, and just anywhere, like put it in your chest, and I start keep doing it in different ways, and like you're gonna feel that shit, and so there's no way to ignore it. Oh well, just let it ride out, and that is the play. That is the game. That's how you have to do it. But again, it's almost impossible. You have to do it very micro step, like maybe, I don't know, like just try like little things, like 10-second things. Like don't don't put a goalpost or don't put a benchmark up. You know, just kind of freelance it, man. Like, oh, I think I can make it to the mailbox. I'm just gonna do it. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And you see how I did that? I was creating anger. Like, fuck it, fuck that, fuck it. I don't give a shit. Fuck it. That anger would get me to that mailbox. I live right there. I don't know if the camera moves too fast for that, but it's about 100, maybe 75 yards. But the point is like you have to do it on your own discharge. You have to do it on your own belief system. And when you're really bad and doctors are telling you you're fine, and that's another thing I was going to go on to, and I'll have to do it in the next video because it's saying 35 minutes. I don't know how much uploads to YouTube yet. I got a lot to learn. If anybody has any help tips or how long I can do these, certainly help out with that just by mentioning in a comment or topics you want to discuss. Let's see again. I get off keel because I don't know what I was just actually going to punctuate. But yeah, you just do things at your pace, and even at your worst, dude. I mean, they do say this is like you always do get through it, but I keep telling people it's always new. So no, you don't think so. No matter who tells you. You can have the top neuroscientist in the world, that works out of some lab that doesn't even work at some university state hospital. It doesn't work at New York hospital, the bigger hospitals. He'll never see the light of day to see patients. But even if you could pay him to tell you you're fine, you're not. And so the same ground rules go for friends when they see you kind of really turmoiled. Like, they can't tell like we can feel, but they can see it and sense it. And they'll come up, hey man, you okay? Who in the fuck would say that? It's like, if I get hit by a car, train, whatever, like weird scenario, I'm just giving you some weird ass Rambo shit. Who's going to walk up to you and say, hey man, you okay? I mean, it's just erratic, I guess, social. Like, I would never ask anybody who just broke their leg, are you okay? Like, maybe hold still, or I'm with you. I'm right here. Hold on. I'm getting someone on the phone for you. I'm going to handle everything else, and I'm going to sit here with her. Those are probably like some very copable things to say, like some kind of solace to them. And say, oh, you're all right. Stop doing that. Or, those panic attacks aren't real and all this shit. Because I've been through all of it over, the course of 16 years, but 13 of, like, really effectively. Like, when it really hit me. Like, and mine didn't hit young. A lot of people that I read on their kids, man, and I feel so sick to my stomach. Like, dude, I can't imagine being 8 or 13 or 18 or 22 or 24 and having to deal with what I'm dealing with now at a late age. Yeah, it's just blisteringly hurtful, because I'd take it for him. Like, dude, I've lived my life. Give it to me. I'll hold it for you, bro. Because mine didn't hit till I was 34 years old. And I remember it vividly because of the first event. And, it's been a long road for me. And it's really hard for me to even like get into that mindset. If I had 22 more years to it, I don't think I'd be standing here or sitting here in this car talking to you. I would have ended it. Just bad. I probably should have said disclaimer or something with the. I probably should have said that, but there is hope and there is safety, and I think like even you guys listening to me or whoever is or you as a person are listening to me, I think you having contact, even if there's like non-reciprocated conversation, you're just listening to somebody who kind of knows or thinks they know what you're going through, can be so fucking alleviating. It can. I've heard stories of people, and maybe it'll be like a crunch scene of 30 seconds, but I'm not crazy, and I'm not, and I am safe, and maybe I can look over, at a family member, or I could be at a Walmart and watch people in the parking lot move and say, well, They're obese, but they're still walking and they're still making it. They're 90, had, 2 knee replacements and back surgery, and they're on canes carrying their own groceries to the car. The human body can deal with a lot. The only contingency I throw on there, or the addendum, or the add-on to it, is like when it's psycho, or psychedelic, or psychological. My bad, both words are wrong. It's a different ball game, because their will is keeping them moving to get their groceries to the car. When your mind's fucked, it's really hard to kind of navigate prosperity or hope. Just say hope. And even that's a polite word. I would just say get to the next day and whatever you guys want to call that word. I guess survival. But yeah, I'll make another video tonight, and the only reason I want to do it because I don't want to leave too many people that would fall upon this. I don't know how to read the analytics yet or anything. But just to know I'm still here, I'm not going anywhere. I am going to share this journey. I was just showing a good moment. And cute. It's raining. Most people run from the rain. A thing that really helps me is tuck the phone and get out and walk in this cold rain. There's something being connected. You can look up the grounding technique. A buddy of mine taught me about it. And, it's helpful. And getting out in the rain and letting those, I don't know, there's something sensual about it that really brings you back down to earth, that reconnects you and regrounds you. And, sometimes do those crazy things because I'm going to get out in the rain here anyway. I'm going to go in, but I'm still going to get out in the rain. And I know I'll take my time. And it's something when I get inside, I feel the wetness of the shirt. And then I get all cozy and like, oh, that was refreshing and I needed that. It's those little moments in life that'll, pick you up a little bit. But I wish you guys well until I talk to you next time. Like any video you guys need to watch, because I'm not going to do this tactically. I'm not going to, be some professional, I don't know what they will, I'm not going to be one of those dudes. I'm just going to get on here and talk. I want, hopefully, like what I say omits to other people as being sincere and knowing that you're not alone in the sense that you're actually listening to somebody who does this daily, that has them daily, like panic attacks daily, that deals with very high nervous system problems. I couldn't stare people in the eyes for, I think, 15, 16 years. Even going to a counter, I'll be like, give me a pack of Newport and give me a lottery ticket, and I want to look up. I want to give anybody eye contact because I thought it gave them some kind of power over me that would make me feel small. And that would trigger my PTSD and my anxiety. Until then, I was fine. Like, give me cigarettes, I'm out of here. I got to go back to work. So it took me 10 years to 16 years to fully even look, like, even at this screen, though I'm not looking at the camera. But it took me that long just to look at somebody. Because when it was eye-to-eye contact, there was a problem. Like, I'm not going to get into that, but that's when I was ready to deal with something. But any other that, I didn't want any confrontation. I didn't want, just give me my shit and I'll go, man. But a lot more to talk about. And I hope, I can't say I pray, I'm agnostic. Not atheist, but, I believe in God. But just not the one man made. But yeah, prayers go out in that respect. And I hope you guys at least have a modicum of a decent day, like a minuscule decent day, or just maybe just be like me where you're having like a really good one, even though you're waiting for the fucking, like at least you might have, 20 minutes to, maybe 10 hours of peace, and when it hits, I'll be here. Click on one of the channels or whatever it's called, one of the, season, series, sections, whatever you want to call it, and just click on and watch it. Fall asleep to my voice. Just, just know that somebody's sitting or laying next to you, even in phone format, that understands what you're going through. And just listen to me while you go to sleep, and just know, like, yeah, man, it's something we suffer, but it doesn't kill us. It doesn't make us stronger, but it doesn't kill us. So until next time, hope you're safe. Love you guys.